the job I've done, you kind of lose faith, you gain faith. You lose faith, you gain faith. And I go, it really helped me gain a lot of faith finishing this race because in theory, I shouldn't have finished it with pneumonia. And even a doctor asked me, how the hell was I running? I go, I don't know, doc. Every day it was just something else that kept me going.
Welcome to Mindset Lessons from the Field. I'm Gina Cazazza, the author of the upcoming memoir, Training with the SEAL. Today's guest is no stranger to pain, chaos, and pushing limits. He's a former Green Beret with over 20 years of back-to-back combat deployments. Blown up 5 times, shot once, 2 cracks in his frontal lobe, and still he keeps showing up. From farm kid in Georgia to special forces to running across America, he is the definition of grit, resilience, and doing hard things. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to introduce you to Johnny motherfucking Glenn. Johnny, thank you so much for being on the show. That was challenging for me.
Thank you. You did amazing. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's just start with that name. I want to start with other things. There's so much in that bio right there. But what is this name you got going on? How did you get it?
We were in a firefight back in 2004, if I'm not mistaken. We were in Afghanistan. We got in a big, long firefight. We was in a firefight for like 8, 9 hours that day. It was a long time. It was just a long time. Me, Steve, and TJ had ran across this wadi, a big open area, and we had chased these guys almost into Pakistan, came back, and I was just like as white as my shirt. I was dehydrated, and I remember my hat came off my head, and TJ and them had made it back to the trucks. So I'm still doing my thing. I'm fighting across, and I had some Afghans with me, fighting with me. And all of a sudden, I bent down to pick up my hat. When I bent down to pick up my hat, all the blood went to my head. And I remember when I stood up, it was just dizzy. Everything like was moving. I was like, man, I'm about to pass out. So I turned around, I went to go shoot, but I didn't even shoot because it was just blurry. I didn't know what was going on. So now I look back this way and I see the trucks. And I just start running to the trucks. And of course, the trucks are getting shot up and they're shooting, doing their thing. And TJ, he comes on the radio and he goes, look at Johnny motherfucking Glenn. He looks like a black Jesus right now. And when he said that, I didn't hear it because I'm like totally out of it. But when he said it on a Team Freak, but it was actually said over 102, which is our SATCOM radio in Afghanistan. So everybody in Afghanistan on our net could hear it. So, of course, all the guys in the unit heard it. So when we got back to Kandahar, like a day or two later after the firefight, I walked into our chow hall, and one of my buddies just like, hey, what's up, Johnny motherfucking Glenn? And he's like, hey, how you feeling? I was like, I'm good, brother. And it just kind of, and then it just kind of took off. And everywhere I went, it's like, hey, Johnny motherfucking Glenn, what's up, brother? And then before you know it, it was like, I don't know, it's like one of those videos that go viral. And
Yeah.
it was always, and ever since then, it was my nickname. I remember one time my mom heard one of my buddies call me, and she was like, what did he just call you? And he's like, why did he talk to you like that? I'm like, no, Mom, it's my nickname. And she goes, I don't even want to know why. I was like, okay.
Oh my god, yeah. I was told to ask you that question too, because but now I really needed to know too, as it was coming out of my mouth.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah. So okay, your story is just fascinating, and part of me wants to start from the beginning, but I have to ask about this running across America because you just ran across America in this team, right? Red, white, and blue, running across America, carrying the flag. And, when I was talking to Keith about it yesterday,
Uh-huh.
Keith Holland, we're talking about, for you listeners that don't remember, Keith was on the show. He runs the nonprofit Joint Task Force Canines. He's a very good friend of mine. And you guys know each other, which
Great
is
friend of mine. Yep.
yeah. Yeah. So that's how I got connected with you. I'm glad I did. But he mentioned, you ran across America, and he was like, yeah, it was like 17 days. I'm like, took me 14 days to drive across the country. This guy runs it in 17 days.
No,
What?
hey, I'm going to tell Keith, we did it in 16 days.
Oh, 16 days. Wow.
16
So
days, 4 hours and 15 minutes, or 2 hours and 15 minutes. Something like that.
tell me about first of all, you're a runner. I'm assuming from what I was researching, right?
I
I
hate
mean,
running.
that
Hate.
I'm just like,
Oh, my God, I hate
oh
it.
my goodness. So talk to me about how you ended up doing this and exactly what you did. And what areas were you running? Because I know it was a relay, right?
Yes, it was a relay. So how it all got started, I'll give you the quick backstory, quick as I can.
Please. I
So
need to
every
know.
November, the oldest ultra relay race, or the oldest ultra out there, is at JFK. As long as I can remember, SF guys that go run the JFK, and then when they run it, it's called the JFK 50. And what ended up happening, me and my old commander, Mike Sullivan, he's actually about to be the director of RWB year before last, 2 years ago. They in
And
are
that's
the
red, white, and blue for
red,
those
white, and
that
blue. Team red,
need
white,
to
and blue.
know.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
correct. So Team red, white, and blue. He's about to become the executive director. Well, Mike Irwin, he's the founder of Team red, white, and blue. He's my whole intel officer in third group. Phenomenal guy. He started Team red, white, and blue, what, 14, 15 years ago? Well, anyways, Mike in Team red, white, and blue, they have what's called BFEs, which is big fitness goals. So Mike's big fitness goal was to run the JFK backwards. So we started at the finish line. We ran to the start line.
Where was the finish line?
The finish line is shit, I can't remember the name of the little town. But it starts in like Maryland. It starts in a little town in Maryland, and you run 50 miles up through, like you go through all these little trails and stuff. You're on the trails for a while, and you're on the OT for a while. So me and Mike, in his wise wisdom, he wanted to run it backwards. When we ran it backwards, we ran to the start line. We got to the start line. His wife, Miss Sydney, supported us like crazy. She's amazing. So she supported us. She brought us triple cheeseburgers, like everything, kept us going all night. So me and him ran it unassisted with her and his son Jackson. And Jackson's like my little nephew. So Jackson met us at the 30-mile mark, and then he met us on the AT, that race truck, and then we finished up the rest of it at the start line. When we got to the start line, when the race starts, you have 13 hours, I think, to run 50 miles. So Mike's goal was to run it backwards, start with everybody else, and then we finish in time. So when you run ultras and you run long distances like that, your mind just wanders. You have time to think about just shit, is what I like to call it. That's exactly what it is. So we're running, and all of a sudden Mike goes, "Hey, Johnny, you know, it'd be a great idea." I'm like, "Yeah, Mike, what would be a great idea?" Like, we're like 60, 70 miles into this thing. He goes, "I think we should just get a team together and run the flag across America. What do you think?" I said, "Mike, I think that'd be fucking awesome." I was like, "Count me in." And that kind of, and one thing about me, once I say I'm gonna do something, I might
Oh,
be late.
yeah.
I might be late, like today. I might be late, but I'm gonna do it. And so that's kind of how I started with me and him. And then he texts me every now and then, like, "Hey, we're putting this team together." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." I thought it was just, like, yeah, whatever. After that, I got a phone call. Well, I got an email saying, "Hey, they're taking these applications for the Old Glory Ultra Relay 50 Old Glory Ultra Relay across America." So, of course, he calls me that day, like, "Hey, you submit your resume?" I'm like, "No, what resume?" He's like, "For the race." I was like, "Oh, you were serious?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, I'm doing it right now." So my resume was just basically like, "Hey, I'm Johnny motherfucking Glenn, and I'm gonna run the fly across America." And he was like, "Hey, this is just how Johnny is." So that's kind of how I got started. And then Mike Irwin had a vision to do this, and they've been doing Old Glory Ultra Relays across America for years, but they've never done it where the flag consistently moved. It never stopped. Like when we ran it, the flag never stopped. So it was
Wow.
amazing just to be a part of that. It was humbling too. It was very humbling, very humbling.
Oh my god! And for someone that hates running, wow, look at
Yeah.
that. I understand. I hate running as well.
Yes.
Though I don't do it. So, you do. Where did you start and then where did you end for this race?
So we started on the USS Midway in San Diego,
Okay.
and I got to give a shout out to Chula Vista law enforcement. They escorted us through the city. They came in when we was briefing. They was just top notch. All the law enforcement along this whole route were just amazing. Everybody was escorting us, flags everywhere, police department, fire department, first responders. It was just amazing. And then we ended the race at the Global War on Terrorism Memorial Site, which should be built in 2027 or finished construction in 2027.
And where is that?
That's going to be in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Wow.
So I like
Okay.
to think of it as we left the West Coast and we brought the flag home to the East Coast to its final resting place.
Oh my gosh. Wow. At what point was there a point where you were just like, what am I thinking? Why am I
Day
doing
one.
this?
Day one. The first My first 1.47 miles was terrible. Straight
Why?
uphill, and I
Tell me.
couldn't breathe.
Okay. Oh my
Oh, straight
goodness.
uphill. Straight uphill. And our distress signal was laid a flag across your back, right? And so I'm running up this hill, and I get to the top of this hill, and I'm literally breathing so hard I thought I was going to die. I was like, that's how I'm breathing. I'm like, maybe I'm just excited. I don't know what's going on. And I'm a pretty decent runner. I'm not the greatest runner, but I'm decent. I'm okay. I'm on the lower spectrum, but I'm all right. So I laid a flag across my back, and my whole team thinks, because I like to clown too. They're like, "Oh, Johnny's just being Johnny. He's joking." I look back at him. I'm like, who the hell's going to come get this flag? Because that was our distress signal. Like, you don't stop running. But if you're distressed, we just lay the flag on our back, and
Yeah.
we're carrying the flag like Jesus. So it's like, hey, I'm distressed. And Zach, the next runner, he didn't even have shoes on. He's like, "Johnny just got started. He's all right." And I look back at the truck. I'm like, and I look at the pace car. I go, "Hey, Tell him to get his ass up here, dude. I'm about to die. So he threw some shoes on. He jumped on the flag and he ran it. And then I got back in the truck. They was like, "What's wrong?" And I was just like sweating profusely. It was terrible. I'm talking, it looked like I've been in a pool for like hours. I was like, "Oh my God." They were like, "Johnny, you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I think I'm just excited." Like, I couldn't breathe. Well, lo and behold, 3, 4 days later, I found I had pneumonia. So that
Oh
kind of sucked.
my God.
Yeah, that kind of sucked. Yeah, that kind of sucked. So the next, what was the next, I want to say 12, 13 days, it was just hacking up green stuff. I was in the hotel room with my buddy Cole. So Cole DeRoast, I love you, brother. Cole had to deal with me every night. I'd have the heat turn up to 90 degrees in the hotel room, and I'm just shaking. He's over there burning up, sweating. And then the next
Oh
night, I
my
have it at 30 degrees because I was burning up, sweating hot. And the whole time, not once did Cole say, "Hey, dude, you got to turn that air up. Hey, dude, you're killing me." All he did was drink water. He just, "Hey, Johnny, you all right?" He took care of me. I was like, I got to give him credit. He took care of me. He did. Great team.
Oh my
Best
God.
teammate
So
ever.
you ran across, you didn't just run across America, you ran with pneumonia.
Pneumonia. And then when I got back to Bragg, I got tested. I had bronchitis.
Oh my gosh.
But
That's
what's crazy though is that, and
crazy.
what's awesome, or what, I don't know, the crazy part about it is I tell people like the job I've done, you kind of lose faith, you gain faith. You lose faith, you gain faith. And I go, it really helped me gain a lot of faith finishing this race because, like in theory, I shouldn't have finished it with pneumonia. And
Yeah.
even a doctor asked me, how the hell was I running? I go, I don't know, doc. Every day it was just something else that kept me
How
going.
many miles did you run a day?
Total, we ran between 14 and 16 miles a day. Some days, some people ran more because we had runners that got hurt or whatever the case may be. But I think total, I ended up running 246 miles. If I'm correct, I think it's 246.
Oh my goodness. So did you have like a day team, a night team, and
Yep.
then how many on the team?
So we ran three different teams. We ran a 8-hour shifts per team, 24 hours a day. Flag never stopped, and each team had 4 people on it. So it was a total of 12 people on the original team. But one of the guys, Gavin, phenomenal teammate, he ended up getting hip stress fractures. So he ended up getting replaced. Once he got replaced, it ended up being 13 runners. So,
Wow.
but
And
12 finished, and Gavin finished with us.
yeah,
He stopped after I think of like he still ended up running 12, 1,300 miles, 14, 1,500 miles with a stress fracture. So he's a stress.
that is, I mean, oh my goodness. Like
Yeah,
that is insane. But also, wow, what an experience, right? Like
it
that's
was.
life changing. That changes you.
It was. I think it changed us a lot. But for us, the guys that ran it, because we knew what the purpose was, we was trying to raise $1 million for veteran wellness and just suicides and everything that's going on with our veterans today. And I think for us that ran it, like I talked to Lindsay, I talked to my boy Zach, Captain America, I talked to everybody on the team still. But for us, it was another day at the office. We was just running.
Yeah.
And I still don't think for me, it's just
Just
like
running.
people are like, "Oh, it's so amazing." I'm like, we just ran. To me, it's more dumb than anything. Like you say, yeah, we ran 15 miles a day, at a 7:40, I think it was a 7:48 or 7:45 pace, 7:48 when we
That
finished.
was my next question. I'm like, what is your I'm at like, I mean, I'm giving myself a lot of grace here when I'm like, I got a 10-minute mile going down.
But that's good though. At least you're doing something. And that's all that matters. You're doing something. But I think
Yeah.
cumulative, our pace ended up being 7:48, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wow, what an I had to ask about that. I don't know why that like intrigued me more than being blown up 5 times, but just running across
Yeah.
America for some
Yeah.
reason
When you think
intrigued.
about it, it is a long ways. 3,006 miles is what we covered.
It's a long way. I know.
Yeah.
I drove across it. You
Yeah.
know.
It took you what, 15 days?
At 14, we
14
did.
days.
Well, it would have been a little bit longer, but my nephew was born as we were going across, and
Okay.
and then my brother was like he came, my nephew came out. My brother's like, "Where are you guys?" We're like in New Mexico. He's, "Well, hurry up,
Yeah, you got
he's
to get
here."
here.
And I was like, we got to get there, right? But it was just, we took our time. Like we did
Gotcha.
something in every state. Like we stopped at Arkansas and dug for diamonds,
That's cool.
and like we did some fun like stuff like each
Yeah.
time. So that's why it took a while. Like I think my brother did it in like less than I know he did it a couple of times, and I know
Huh?
one time he drove he stopped one night like like just a quick stop to sleep, and then drove the rest of the way,
That's awesome.
like didn't stop at all. I think he did it
That's
in like like 2-3 days at the most. It
That's
was
pretty.
like, yeah. So, but I like to do it at a leisurely pace, kind of like running, you know? um,
That's
so,
funny. That's good though. That's good.
yeah,
I miss the. For me though, it's more like when I think about us running across America, I think more about the good times we had. Like just
yeah,
me and Zach would get up and go get junk food,
yeah.
and Mary would be like, "We, I don't want none of that." Mary would never get junk food, or she would eat pancakes, but she wouldn't eat junk food. And then Cole was, we were also different. Cole was like this health nut, and I'm like a 12-year-old. I'm like, hey, I just want to get some McDonald's and Whataburger and some Happy Meals and some Chick-fil-A, and I'm good. You know?
That so sometimes I say to myself, like, I really miss my teammates when I was in the Navy SEAL prep program because they're just a different breed of people. Where,
Right,
like, if
right.
I'm like, hey, I want to walk for 24 hours straight, they'd be like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Whereas
Yeah,
somebody else would be like, why? You know? And it's just like, I don't just want to just challenge myself. Right. And it was just funny though, because I remember, speaking of food and stuff like that, when I was in the program and I was like not doing good one day, like throwing up, like about to pass out, and they like run over with like protein bars and things. And I'm like reading the ingredients and I'm like, ooh, can't have this. I could have it. I'm not
yeah.
allergic to anything, but like I'm just this health freak that's like, ooh, no. And they're like, you're passing out. Like you need something in your
Yeah.
body. And
You
I'm
need
like,
junk. You
they're
need
like,
junk.
just have it, right?
Yep. Body
Um,
feels off junk.
so, okay, we got to talk about, we have to go now. I have to go backwards to the origin in a way because I mean, just first of all, going to special forces, you know, that's next level human. Then all of a sudden being blown up 5 times, shot once, like all these things. And then, you know, you're showing up for yourself all the time. It's like, I'm just looking at you. It's just like, you just have this Victor energy, you know, like this Victor energy, you know, and I'm right across America. I'm not me, you. And so I want to know, like, what was the moment in your life that was there something that taught you resilience at a young age or mental toughness or grit that happened in childhood?
I would say my mom and dad, and I wouldn't necessarily say you said victorious. I don't. I say failure
Okay.
because in my mind, and I know it's hard to describe, but I'll describe it the best way I can. Is
Yeah.
I used to volunteer at a place here in Sanford where we help families that were like whatever, that like they just had problems, and we helped different families. And one day the lady had the kids draw a shield, and everybody wrote on there like what this shield meant to them. And of course, as one of the instructors, I had to draw the shield too. And when everybody showed the shield, we all went off in these corners and wrote the shield. And everybody showed their shield, and everybody's shield had like honor, integrity, resiliency, never give up, different words. And when I got done with mine, I was scared to show. I was like, oh shit, I'm an idiot. And she was like, well, show your shield, Johnny. And I turned around, and my shield said Glenn on it. And she goes, Glenn? I go, yeah, that's my last name. And I've never in my life ever, from the day I was born, my dad used to always tell you, your last name carries more weight than anything.
Hmm.
And he used to always tell me, never embarrass your last name, never embarrass our family name. And I think for me, it has nothing to do with like being victorious or being the winner. It's more of not failing. Like you better not fail because my dad was a big boy and he didn't play failing.
Mhm.
And so for me, anytime I'm doing something, even when we were doing our practice runs out in Arkansas, they had me mic'd up and I hurt my back before I went out there. So I really shouldn't have been running, but I was running. And I remember I was away from everybody and I was having a conversation with myself. And my exact words were, you're a fucking Glenn. What are you doing? And that's exactly what I told myself. You're Glenn. I mean, you don't quit. You're Glenn. And it's just always stuck with me. Even with my son, I remember the first time he fell and he started crying. I called him over and he looked at me and I goes, you hurt yourself? He said, yep. I said, it's hurting bad? He said, a little bit. I said, put some dirt on it. And I always remember you're Glenn. You're tougher than that. And anytime you would get hurt or fall, even my daughter, they would get hurt and they would fall or whatever. Both of them, they'd be like, I'm a Glenn. I'm a Glenn. And my ex would get so mad at me. And they're like, it's okay to cry. I'm like, no, you're Glenn. You suck it up. You're all right. And she would
That's
get
so
so
my
pissed at me.
dad. That's so my dad.
Yeah, and she would get so pissed at me about that. And I feel like over time, like in the military, like I told people, I've never worked a day in my life in the military. Nothing was ever hard to me in the military because it was stuff I wanted to do, stuff I loved to do. So it was like, man, this is
Except
amazing.
running, right?
Except for I hate Hated running. But I like to run to clear my head, but I hate running.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no,
So for
that
me,
makes sense, yeah.
it's more of not filling my last name or let my family down than
Yeah.
it is being victorious.
No, I can relate. My parents used to always say, like, "Don't do something that you don't want on the front page of the news," you
Exactly.
know?
Yep. Exactly.
And, it really stuck with me. Now, did I always listen to that one? No, but I wish I did.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
But
you
that's
know?
living though.
That's living,
That's living.
Did you know you wanted to go into special forces? Did you know you were going into the military?
Yeah, I kind of know I was going to. I always
You
wanted to play
do.
sports because I've always been a sports guy: football, basketball, baseball, kickball,
Okay.
anything with a ball in it. I wanted to play. Like, all right, let's go play anything because that was just me. Like, no attention spans. Just, oh, that's a ball. I'm going to get it. Yeah, I was like a little dog in a park. Anything dealing with sports, I always wanted to do. And then my cousin Nathaniel, Nate, we call him Nate the Great dude. He joined the military. And when he joined the military, I mean, he came home and he had his own car, his own money, and he was in a uniform. And just seeing that uniform, it was like, oh my God, like, man, that's sharp. And
Yeah.
so growing up, we used to always play Cowboys and Indians, and I would always win. Like, it was always my thing. It was just like we had one cock Red Ryder BB guns. We would actually shoot each other with BB guns. I shot my cousin one time. He peeked from behind us, and we always said below the head. Well, he peeked behind a thing one time, and when he peeked from behind, like at the bottom of the door, and I shot him like right on his eye right here, and my dad tore my ass up. Oh my God, that's one of the I've gotten a lot of whippings. I mean, a lot of them, but that was one of the worst I've ever gotten. And my cousin used to always say, "Man, you're like Rambo," like because I always went in the wood. We were always hunting each other, and I would hide in the ground. I would cover myself with pine straw. I was just crazy, but I was just a young kid playing Cowboys and Indians. So I knew way back when I was probably gonna end up joining the military. It was either sports or the military. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. And what made you go Green Beret?
I had an old commander named Jeffrey Butler. I keep wanting to find him if I can. I was standing outside the company one day and I was looking at an old poster. This was in 1996. And he had an old poster. It was just a Green Beret. He had a phone number on it, 910-432 something. And it said, "Do you have what it takes?" That's exactly what it said. I remember I was just looking at it. And my commander walked out. I was just Private Glenn. I looked out. I was like, "Yes, sir." He says, "You think you got what it takes?" I looked back at the poster. And I had no clue what a Green Beret was. But I looked at the poster and I go, "Sir, I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I know I got it." That's exactly what I told him. And he just shook his head. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sure you do." And he walked off. And after that, like, again, I didn't know what a Green Beret was. And then, like, maybe a day or two later or after formation or whatever, he comes out and he goes, "Hey, you should go talk to those guys, check them out." And I went and talked to them. I checked them out. And after I checked them out, they were like, "Hey, you got to be an E4 to go to selection." I came back, told the commander, I was an E3 at the time. He promoted me with the waiver at 14 months. As soon as I got promoted, he was like, he shook my hand. He's like, "I held up my end of the bargain. Now you hold up yours." And that's how I ended up going to selection. I went back and saw the
Wow.
recruiters, and they sent me to selection. Yep.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Now, how was selection for you? Struggle at any point
Not at
or
all.
no?
Selection, like, and I'm not talking like I'm a badass or whatever, but selection,
There's a couple of guests on the show that said the same thing. They're
it
like,
was easy to me.
no.
I was 19
Yeah.
years old. I was in the best shape of my life. And what's crazy, a lot of people don't know this. I think I said it on one show, but I'm not sure. But I was a 21-day non-select. So I went through the whole course, went through the whole selection, finished everything. I got a certificate that said I completed the land nav course, but their reasoning was they wanted me to go back and get more experience. I'd only been in the Army 14 months. So they was like, "All right, go back and get more experience." I'm like, I look at them like, "Okay, cool." So I go back to my unit. Everybody's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I don't know. They gave me this little certificate. It's actually on my wall right there. If you remind me at the end, I'll get it and show it to you." They were
Okay. Yeah.
like, they gave me this little certificate that said, "You have complete." Here, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna show you exactly what it says. Hold on.
Yeah. Please. Please.
I'm gonna go right here. It says, "To all who shall see." That's what it looks like. It says, "To all who shall see, let it be known that Johnny Glenn, our specialist Johnny Glenn, has completed the Special Forces Assessment and Selection Course 2E through F129-01-F44-0709 September." So I went through the whole course, finished the course, 9 September through 2 October. So I finished the course. They gave me that little thing right there, and I was like, "All right, cool." They gave me this little certificate, and I went back and I showed it to my commander. He was like, "Johnny, do you know what this means?" I'm like, "Nope." And then he was like, "Well, what did they say?" I said, "They told me I can come back." He's like, "Well, go back." I was like, "Okay." I went back to selection less than 2 months after that.
No way.
Yeah, I was supposed to have took all this leave time because they give you all these, like, you're supposed to take like 45 days leave or whatever it was.
Hmm.
I went back to that. either the next class or the class after that I went back. I was a little smarter the second time. Well, the guys told me too, the first group of guys, because the first time I went, I've always been competitive, so I was first or second in everything. So I think they kind of looked at it like this kid's just wide open going nowhere. You know? So, and I'm still wide open going nowhere. So I think there's kind of like he's in great shape, but he needs to get more experience, is what I assume. So when I went back, the first group of guys told me like, "Hey, you know what the great man is?" I'm like, "No, what the hell's that?" They were like, "Just get in the middle of the pack and just stay in the middle of the pack." And selection the second time, it was harder for me in the fact that I had to hold back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I had
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
when I got in the
Yeah.
middle of the rucks, I'm sitting there like, "You shit me right now," and my body's
I
like, "Let's go." And
yes.
it just sucked, like being that competitive. But I
Yeah.
finished selected, so I did something right.
I can't relate to physical being in the first, but my teammates could tell you that one. However, I could relate to having to hold yourself back. Or in the
Yeah,
workforce, I worked on many jobs where they asked me to please take naps or breaks or whatever and like slow it down because
just do less.
I'm working too hard compared to everybody else. And I thought I was holding back a little bit. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'll hold back a little bit more. How much more can I hold back? But when it comes
They
to
just want you to
running,
be
that's
lazy. They
not my
want you to be
problem.
lazy.
Like
Yeah, they
anything
want you to be
physical,
lazy.
though, not a
Yeah.
problem. So, okay, now I gotta ask. Now we have to go into this next part of the intro that I mentioned with you because, like, okay, we got the injuries that you had.
Hmm.
Now, was it like blown up 5 times in a row? Was it like one well, wait, how many wait, yeah, blown up 5 times. It was blown up
Yep.
5 times. So, were you like was that all in one shot? Was that multiple times
No,
throughout the full year?
the very first one was 2004. My buddy Dave got really hurt in this one. I just took overpressure in this one. We were probably 40, 50 yards in front of him, and
Okay.
it was a road bomb. So when it went up, it was all concussion, just all concussed.
Oh,
Just I was just disoriented. My whole team was me,
yeah.
Troy, the guys that were in the truck that was in Dave's truck. They got hurt. Everybody was
Mhm.
just overpressurely concussed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then does that okay, here's my question. Curious about this one. Something like that happens to you. How do you is there like a fear or like a different way of approaching things knowing that like I mean you're so close. I mean I get it. You signed up
Right.
for combat. You know that you're close to death every day, right? You don't know what's going to happen. However, there's one thing about knowing it, like when I get into a car and I'm like, I could get into an accident. I'm
Yep.
aware of that, right? However, there is another when you're close to it, right?
Right.
Or like you're in it when you're in a serious accident and then you have to get back on the horse or you have to get back in the car, right? How was it after the first time? Because then it was 4 more times after that.
After the first one, honestly, you're just like, for me, and I think my teammates, you look at each other, you gain strength there because
Okay.
everybody's getting back in that truck, and it's
Mhm.
almost like it's an unknown rule. If they're getting in there going, you're going. That's just the way it is. And
Mhm.
then two, I would say, like that first night, I remember just laying in bed. You just think about it. You're like, holy shit. And I was more worried about Dave because he got hurt. He got hurt bad. So I think we were more worried about Dave than anything.
Mhm.
But after that first night, I will say this. I remember driving down the road and you would see guys literally driving like just kind of like tense.
Yeah.
And then I remember like I'd be either on the back of the truck or on the gun. I didn't want to drive. Don't let me drive. I want to fucking drive. I just want to be in the back of the truck. And then, after a couple more times going out, you start realizing that, hey, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And then you'll go a month or so where you're not thinking about it. And I won't ever forget this one day, a rock hit the bottom of the truck, like, tink. It hit the bottom of the truck. And I swear to God, I think I swallowed my throat. I think I swallowed my face. I think I swallowed everything. You just start patting yourself like, shit. You're like, and you're like, damn. And then, of course, your mind goes back to it. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
And then, just like, because it's real, just like I've been driving down the road. You get back and you see trash in the road. You're like, hey, let me avoid that trash. You're like,
Right.
this might be something, because, and people say, oh, don't worry about it. That's a lie because we're human. You know what I mean? It's like anything else. Like my dad used to say, if you do something wrong and I tear your ass up, you won't do that again. And it's true.
Mhm.
So when something bad happens to you, you don't want to happen again. So you avoid it. So how we avoid it, and we know we have to get back on the horse, is we try to plan more better. Let's
Mhm.
take better routes, or let's put a let's put like a clearing team in front of us, or let's do this, or let's do that. So for the military, it's just risk mitigation. So you do all you can. So when we brief in these routes, we're like, hey, We're gonna do a we're gonna do electric burn on this rock before we travel. We're gonna have to wrap sweat. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna try to get behind locals while they're driving on the same route, stay in the same tire tracks. And when you do that, it's giving you that reassurance that it's just a false sense of security is what it is. Because you're looking at the car in front of you like, oh, all right, if that car don't hit it, we're good. Well, if they got the bomb set for a 5,000 pound truck, guess what? That car isn't gonna go off, but we will. But in our brain, because of that false sense of security, it's just like when you see, not saying they're not doing their jobs, but when you see like I see all these soldiers standing guard at the post. And I'm like, this is the biggest false sense of security I've ever seen. You mean like I'm looking at like, and not only soldiers, but they got contractors too. It's like this is just it's just showing we're doing something. And it's a
Yeah.
deterrent because now somebody that was gonna try to break into post, they realize, oh my God, they got security. It's a deterrent. Just like having a ring system. It's all deterrent. That false sense of security of letting us know, just like when you buy a car. Oh my God, I bought a Subaru. It's the most safest car on the planet. Yeah, till you get hit by 18 wheeler. I don't care if you're driving a damn Tundra. You know, I drive a big truck, but if I get hit by 18 wheelers, it's probably gonna be nothing left. We just kind of developed that. How do we make it so that our bodies accept the fact that we know we're going to danger, but we've done everything we possibly could to mitigate it?
Yeah. And I mean, you said something really interesting too, though. It's like, the first time it happens, you're on high alert, you're planning better, things like that. But then there comes a point where like you're back, you forget.
Yeah,
Like it's like you're back to okay. It's like you've went through enough days that were safe for your
right.
brain to go into, hey, it's safe till that
Yep.
rock hits the truck and shakes things
Yeah.
up, right?
And
It's
that's all
just
it takes. One rock just
yeah.
hit the bottom of the truck. You're like, damn it. Oh, you're like, oh. And then you're just like, now you're just like right back on that. I like to say that high state alert. You know, you're
High
just like,
alert.
hit me.
High alert.
Yeah.
I'm on high. I live in South Carolina now, and
Okay.
I'm on, I'm on high alert. I live right by Keith. That's how we know each other. Like I am on high alert like all the time these days because of these reptiles. I'm not used to it. I don't live. I grew up on Long Island. Won't have anything. No, we're fine over there. And now I'm sitting down. Yesterday, I'm sitting outside, and like there's this little gecko. And I'm just like, fun fact, my dad didn't even know this. I had a gecko when I was a child. Like in I had a pet gecko and stuff like that,
Huh?
and yeah, and now I'm
Now
just
you're
like,
terrified.
now I just don't want to be sitting down and all of a sudden there it is. I want to know it's coming. Just let me know, alert me, right?
It's
And they can't
amazing.
do that. But now I'm on high alert, right? And then all of a sudden it's just like then you're like you've getting through enough days of sitting outside where there's no gecko and then suddenly there it is on my shoulder and then I
Like,
lose my mind, never going outside again. It's just there's one of those things. So I mean, I like to relate what you're talking about to the civilian world where like where we jump at a gecko. So so I want
I
to
like it.
so what is was there anyone that really I mean you really went through a lot, you were shot, you had two cracks in your frontal lobe, like how how do you keep showing up or was there anything that really shook you up that took a little bit longer to come back?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Tell us about that one.
My death of my mom, and my dad. No ifs, ands,
Okay.
buts. Yeah. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Yeah,
That's
two of
not
the
something you could prepare for. I
no,
try all the time. It's
I
not it doesn't work.
it's not. It's gonna suck. It's two of the
Yeah.
most unselfish people, two of the most loving and caring people in the world. And it's just when I lost them, my mom passed away December 29th of 2018, and my dad left 4 months behind her. It just tore me apart. Like, and I'm the oldest of three kids. I don't know. It just took something out of me because I felt like, and that's one of those times where I don't know. I was being selfish, but I felt like, raised as a Southern Baptist, I felt like he was a true God at the time. Like he wasn't a loving God because why would you take away two people in the world that they loved everybody, they fed everybody, they did everything they could to help everybody. Take away two people that are doing great things for everybody, not themselves, everybody else. You take them away, but you let criminals, drug dealers, rapists, the whole 9 yards, they get away with all these things and they live long lives. But you take my mom and dad at 67, 68. It's still, even when I think about it now and talk about it now, it hurts. It hurts because those were my, those were my pillars. Those were my rocks. Those were my, I talk to my dad 3, 4 times a day. I talk to my mom twice a day and I text her all day.
Mhm.
Those were my backbone. And
Yeah.
now my sister, she's by far the most strongest, most resilient person I ever met in my life because she was there with my mom and dad through everything. And I remember when my mom got sick and she passed away, and she was like, I'm kind of happy. I go, what the hell you mean you're happy? And I got so mad at her, and she was like, because I was here with mom every day. And I was going home it's an 8-hour drive. I was driving home every other day to see my parents, every other day. I would go drive home on a Monday, back here on Wednesday, because I got a little farm here. I'd drive home on Thursday, I'd be back here on Saturday. Back home on Monday, my dad, after my mom passed, he's like, hey, why are you coming home so much? I was like, I gotta make sure you're all right. He's like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And I never saw it on the surface. So just losing those two people and people that I've always had, because I think for me, the biggest thing, I'm gonna try not to tear up here, but I think for the biggest thing is, like, I know my parents are proud of me and I come from a big loving family. I was just with my family this weekend. And I know they're all proud of me because they tell me. And I know I've heard my dad say it maybe once. I know my mom said it, but I love to hear them say it, like, hey, I'm proud of you. Because I know they are. You know what I mean? I know they are.
Mm-hmm.
But just not being able to hear them,
Mm-hmm.
just take it for granted, like they're going to be here, they're going to be here. And that's what I tell people when I meet people. And they're like, oh, my mom, I need to go see her. I'm like, and I get mad at my friends. I'm like, no, go see your mom and dad. Go see them right now. Because when they're gone, they are fucking gone. I got mad at my sister. My dad was gone for 2 years. I told my sister, do not cut his phone off because I called him every day. So I would call and just listen to his voicemail. Sometimes I'll leave voicemail. Hey, Pops, it's me. When you get a chance, hit me back. That's what we'd always say to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone wouldn't ring. So I called one time and it like the phone's been disconnected. I'm like, what the hell? So I called. She's like, why are we spending money on a phone bill? Dad's not going to call you. Oh, I was so mad because that's how my family is too. We call it how we say it. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. I know what you mean. I have an Italian
And that's the
family.
the
Yeah.
beauty of family too is that when we see it, we call it.
Yes.
And
No.
so when she told me that, I got mad at her, hung the phone up. I didn't call her for like a day or two. And I called her back. I was like, hey, you still could have told me you was turning the phone off. She's like, yeah, whatever. And she's like, get over it. That was the hardest thing that's ever happened in my life. And the most hardest thing that I deal with on a day-to-day basis too. It's just like, how do I make my mom and dad proud? And it ain't about, like I try to help everybody like them. And I tell people it's a curse sometimes. My aunt always tell me, you're just like your dad. I said, yeah, that's a fucking curse. Because sometimes you don't want to help people.
Mhm.
Like sometimes, I don't mean that bad. Like I don't mean that negative.
I
But
get it.
sometimes you see somebody broke down. It's like, it's 100 degrees outside. I just want to get fucking home. But you see them, and I've done this. You see them, and then you got your mom and your dad like, what if that's your sister? And you're like, all right, I get it. Shit. And then you
Yeah.
go back and you help them, and then you find out you meet some of the nicest people, or you meet somebody that was really struggling, and you talk to them, and they're like, hey, thank you so much for stopping. So many people pass by, and it's like, hey, no worries. Glad I could help. And that's rewarding. That's like making my mom and dad proud, if that makes sense.
Right. No. That totally makes sense. Now, just to understand, you were a civilian at the time. You were, right, when your parents passed, or were you still?
I was transitioning. I was about to get out.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Thrivers Coffee. Podcast guest Nick McKinley's company, Deliver Fund, brings you guys Thrivers Coffee. It is ethically sourced, it's organic, and it supports traffic survivors. That is right. Thrivers Coffee is all about empowering us to making a difference in the fight to end human trafficking. That's why 100% of the proceeds go directly towards their goal of bringing freedom to victims of human trafficking. So if you guys love coffee that is organic, ethically sourced, and tastes absolutely delicious, and want to help to end the fight of human trafficking, check out Nick McKinley's company, Thrivers Coffee. So not only do you transition out, which is really challenging, right?
Yep.
You're
Yep.
losing an identity. You have to find a whole new purpose, all this stuff. Then you lose the two people that are your pillars in life. And it's
And I
just
was
like,
going through my divorce.
oh, that's,
Oh, terrible. Oh, terrible.
trifecta right there. Oh my God, you win worst year ever. Oh, wow. So okay, let's talk about that then. Like, how do you, what did you do? What coping mechanisms did you give yourself to go through this, whether it was healthy or not healthy? I want to know what coping you did. And number two, when you got out, did you know that you were getting out, and did you have a plan for yourself on where you were going, or was it a forced out, I have no idea what I'm doing?
Mine was more medical. It was
Okay.
medical. Like I was medically boarded out. And I really didn't know I was getting out until I was told that by the docs. And then once I got told it, I was like, shit, what am I going to do? That kind of started the ball rolling downhill. My mom was already sick. Me and the ex was already arguing because now, like you said, I'm losing my identity. I'm Johnny motherfucking Glenn. And I don't know what the hell's going on, and I can't fix it. And
Yeah.
that's it. Like my whole life, I've been, around my dad. Just always been a fixer. Like we got a problem, let's fix it. Come up with a solution, let's fix it. And then just not being able to fix it. What I did was, I don't have any vices, so I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs. So I'm naturally high on life. So I literally just like, my house was empty at the time because me and the ex was going through the divorce. And I was like, I'm selling my house, I'm moving out to the farm, I'm gonna figure it out. And then that didn't work. And then I remember my lawyer told me like, hey, don't sell your house because the judge is gonna look at like where your kid's gonna go. I was like, all right, well, hang on to the house. So I was like, I'm gonna sleep in my truck. That was my plan. Sleep in my truck, figure it out. So what I ended up doing, believe it or not, I just kind of relied on my dad was still alive at the time, right before he passed. And then I just kind of relied on my family. You know what I mean? Like every time I would go home, if you ever come to South Georgia, I'll take you. But if you ever go to my home, it's just nobody's a stranger there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing my family will do, we'll put a roof over your head and we'll feed you. And so when I went home, it was like you just see people that are like, we don't have much, but we have everything
Mm-hmm.
because we got each other. And then I would go home and, and for the longest, I didn't tell my mom and dad. My dad knew, but my mom didn't know. And I didn't want to tell her. I even told my ex, like, they didn't bring it up my mom. I told my sister not to bring it up because I didn't want my mom to know that. Because at the time I felt like I'd failed. And I didn't want my mom to know that because I knew she was sick. And my mom was real big in marriage and family and all that good stuff. And so she died knowing that, her husband, her son, and her grandkids were, they're one big happy family. And then my dad kind of knew because I talked to him because me and him was a little more, we were more manly with each other. So, and then after my father passed, like that was another dark hole. But then I had my sister, I had my brother, and my brother's in Japan. He was in the military at the time. I'm getting out of the military. And I remember 2, 3 times a week we would FaceTime each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what was crazy is we would FaceTime each other and we would laugh about mom and dad, about, like me getting a whooping or Jeffrey wrecking dad's truck or my sister getting pregnant and thinking dad's going to kill her. Just things like that. And it just kind of like, one, it brought us close together. And I remember my dad told me right before he passed, like, hey, the family's yours now. Take care of it. And my dad's always been like the cornerstone of our big, huge ass family. And I remember at his funeral, I was like, hey, I don't want to fill my dad's shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking around my family like, I don't want to take care of everybody like he did. But it's kind of like one of those leadership roles where whether you want it or not, it's yours now. I just kind of, my family was there. My aunt would call me every day. My Aunt Marvelyn, my Aunt Sheila, even my aunts on my mom's side and on my dad's side, my Aunt Jeanette. Everybody would call me, my cousins, and I just can't name them all. Jack, Kim, everybody called me. Everybody would text like, hey, how you doing? How you holding up? Hey, you need anything? And it was like, after a while, you go into that dark place like, fuck, man. Like, and that's where you start questioning your faith. You started questioning things that you've done in life. Exactly with my job. Like, I question everything. Like, is it worth it? And then that's why when I see people, I tell them, like, hey, if you want to think of better, just live your life to the fullest. And for me, that's more than enough payment. I don't need you to buy me lunch. I don't need you to give me nothing. I don't need no discount at Lowe's. I don't need any of that. Just live your life to the fullest. Whether you want to be a trash can driver or whatever, just be the best you can be. And then just having my family to lean on, like it made me realize that there's more to life than just, we're all going to die at some point.
Right.
And my dad used to tell me all the time, a man lives by the way he dies, and a man dies by the way he lives. And my dad used to say shit that it would hit me, and I'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But when he told me that, I never understood it. But the day of his funeral, it totally made sense because there were so many people there that came to pay their respects for everything he's done, whether he helped somebody pay their light bill, or he paid somebody mortgage, or he just fed somebody, or he gave somebody a place to stay, or he gave them advice, or he helped them when nobody else would. And it made me realize, like, I know exactly what he's saying when he said, you live how you die and you die how you live. Because I looked around and he was loved. And he used to
Mm-hmm.
always say he was filthy rich. And I was like, I get it now. So that kind of helped put me on the right track of like, hey, it's more than about me. And
Right.
so, like when I told you before, when I made that shield, last name of Glenn, when I think about it, I'm like, you're fucking Glenn. And I can hear my dad telling me, like, suck it up, buttercup, it's time to go to work. Or he's telling me, when the mule's in the ditch, you got to get him out, which to this day, I think that just means work harder. I don't know what the hell that means. So, so then I just had the family and I just leaned on my family and they always like just provided strength, even when they didn't know they were providing strength. Or if they posted something on Facebook, or if they sent me a picture like, hey, your dad just took this picture when I was 12 years old. I remember your dad used to beat me every day because I would do so bad. He'd tear my butt up. And I would just laugh. I was like, yep, that's my pops. And then it just kind of like, it just fueled me. Just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to die one day too. And then I realized that it's not what I accomplished in life. It's not setting the Old Glory Ultra Relay. It's not being a Green Beret. It's not going to reading school without order. It's none of that shit. It's how the impact that you have on people's lives that matter. And that's it. It just gave me that, like, keep getting it.
Wow. Yeah, that was deep. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, how long did it take you? Because you took hit after hit after hit and I know you said you're still
Mm-hmm.
working through it, right?
Oh, yeah. Every day.
It's not an overnight thing. What are you doing today, and how did you find a way um, I guess, find purpose in your life now after like losing the identity of the military and finding the new one of you.
For me, every day, just look at a positive. That's
Mhm.
what I tell people. Look at a positive. Like, we got 22 veterans committing suicide every day.
Mhm.
There's got to be something that you see as positive that can stop you from doing it. Got to be. And so for me, it's just looking at the positives. Like, if I wake up and I'm broke and have no money in the bank, so be it. I got food in the pantry. Fat kid loves to eat, so I got food in the pantry. You know what I mean? So if, like tomorrow, I really didn't have a lot planned tomorrow, but my daughter's coming home tonight. So I get to hang out with her. Like, there's always a positive. And then, like, people are always looking for, like, that, man, if I won the lottery, like, it's right there in front of you. You just got to take
Mhm.
that time to look. It is, I guarantee you, it's right there in front of you. You
Mhm.
just got to take the time to realize that it's right there in front of you. So what I'm doing now is just I'm living one day at a time, and
Mhm.
I literally mean that, one day at a time. Like, I don't have a schedule. Like, you say, "Hey, is this day open to you?" Last week, and I said, "Yes, open." And then you said, "Hey, Monday's still good." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Monday's good." Then I got a text and the guy's like, "Hey, you still come to this golf tournament? You gonna come to?" I'm like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "Hey, can we do Tuesday instead?" Because I don't do a calendar. I live my life
Mhm.
one day at a time. When I wake up tomorrow, if I don't have to work tomorrow, it's like, all right, what am I doing tomorrow? I'm gonna go golf.
Right.
I'm gonna go scuba dive. I'm gonna go skydive. I'm gonna go ride my horse. I'm gonna go out to the farm and work the animals. It's just one day at a time. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the
Mhm.
news. I don't corrupt myself with all that crap going on in the world. It's like, what's in front of me and how can I impact that? And I feel like people just put their phones down for a while. Don't get me wrong. I love social media. I love some of the funny things on social media. I don't care for all the stuff that's trying to sway people right or left. But I do like the funny posts, like, and I'm always posting about my family and just doing stuff. That I love. I love the positivity. So for me, I just look for positive, and that's how I've just been able to keep going. Just look for something positive. And you
Mhm.
don't have to look hard. I find it every day.
I love that. I love too the fact that, you're living your life, your
Oh,
best life. You're like, hey, I'm gonna go and golf today, or I'm gonna
right.
go and whatever. Like, you're doing something for you. And, I for myself, I feel the same way a lot of times. Some people are like, you work really hard. And I'm like, no, I do everything I want, like this podcast. They're like, oh, you work so like this is a hobby. What are you talking about? And I'm like, there's no money in this. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
Ah,
And because they're like, oh, you do so much. And I go, no, I'm just experiencing life. It's like
yes,
I have
exactly.
no desire to like watch TV. I mean, I'm a reader,
You're
obviously.
living
I'm an
though.
author. But it's very important to live your life. And I do
Yeah.
think that, you're and the best way for you to do that is by moving the body,
Mhm.
experiencing things that you might not have done or you enjoy doing.
Yep.
And, and I think that we forget that. We get on our phone 24/7. We put this crap in our bodies that doesn't serve us. We sit on the couch all day and don't move the body. And what we don't realize is that our health is our wealth, right? And it's
Oh
just
yeah.
like, it's I get we're all going to die, but it's how we're going to go,
Oh yeah.
in terms of I want to be able to be 60 and still be walking up a hill,
Oh, yep.
and I love that you're doing that and stuff.
Yeah.
And that you're going day by day for yourself, because
Mhm.
tomorrow's not guaranteed, right?
Promise.
And that's real. I love that. And I love this America thing too. Like, God,
Oh
you
yeah.
just like, sure.
Yeah. And my dad used to always say, it's funny. Say, like, well,
So let me ask you another question. Oh,
Linda,
yes.
my dad
Sorry.
used to say, if you
Oh,
love
you're
what you
cutting
do,
out. Go ahead. Wait, sorry. Say that line again.
my dad used to say, if you love what you do and do what you love, you'll never work a day of your
Mhm.
life. And I can honestly say, I never
100%.
worked a day of my life ever. At least I
Yeah.
don't work.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No. How Now, I do want to ask though one more with the brain injury that you had, right? How did you overcome the brain injury?
I didn't overcome it. Like, it still affects me in some phases. Like, the biggest thing with me is losing stuff now. It's forgetting where I put
Okay.
stuff. Before I got blown up, the first 5 times I got blown up, I used to have pretty much almost a photographic memory. It was good. It was
Okay.
great. And so what ended up happening was, like, right now when I go take memory test, the doctor was like, "Oh, you're still like right here." And actually, my commander was like, "No, you should have met him before you got blown up. How good his memory was." And now it's like, so for me, it's more like I get aggravated with myself
Hmm.
because I know the knowledge is there, and I'll try to pull it out, and I'm like, "Damn it!" And I can see it, I just can't access it. And I know it's like I can see it, like I can think about things back to my childhood. Just the other day, I had to call my sister and ask her what was one of our friends' name that lived up the street. It was beat me up. I couldn't remember the kid's name. So I called him like, Pooh Bear, what was the kid's name that we played with all the time? She was like, Vic, how do you not remember the name? I was like, oh my God, I couldn't remember. She's like, that was your best friend growing up. I was like, I know, I could not remember the kid's name because I was going to call him, just check on him. And I could not remember his name. It was driving me crazy. So the brain injury now, what I do is I still do therapy, but I do a lot of cognitive stuff with myself. Like I'll try to, they've taught me different ways to like put stuff in categories, like remembering categories. Well, I used to have to do that. So it's hard, just like, I almost feel like I'm a kid just trying to figure out, like, okay, I'm learning my ABCs. Okay, what are the vowels? You do like a riddle or something. And then you're like, if I go somewhere, I put my keys in the same spot. I try to hit the back. And plus, I'm burning steps. So it's easy for the vehicle. So it's just little things like that, like you got to do. And then the brain is the muscle itself. So you got to work
Right.
it. So me, I work my brain by, I love music. I love country music. So anytime Morgan Wallen come out with a new song once, and I can sing almost every lyric. Now I have to put it on repeat, and my kids are like, Dad, really? We heard this like 8 times, like, hey, I almost got it, almost got it. And then by the time I learned one, then it came up with a new one. I'm like, damn it. Like, I'm always trying to work the brain just to make sure, like, to keep it fresh, you know what I mean? And then I'm so stuck. I'm like, I'm not writing shit down. I'm Johnny Glenn. I'll figure it out. So I went to Walmart in one day. I think the most I went is 4 times, or maybe 5. Just like, I'll go to get something, I'll forget it. I'm like, oh shit, shiny object. Buy something else, I get back home and I like bulbs or toilet paper. And I'll run back to Walmart because now I'm the purpose. I got to go get my toilet paper and light bulbs. And you get there and they're like, oh shit, they got new evil flower cookies. Give me some of these. And then, oh yeah, by the way, I need milk because I forgot and I didn't write it down.
You said this in the beginning of the show where you talked about when your kid cries or when you cry, it's like suck it up, right? It's like let's go inside. What do you have for someone that's like stuck in life that may be a little on the softer side, or to build that toughness and that grit?
First thing I would tell them is that life's not fair. That's the first thing I would tell them. Because, like my dad used to say, and Major Payne said it, if you between shit and syphilis and Webster, and you can find it. So, because life sucks. You mean it sucks for all of us, but it doesn't suck all the time, and it doesn't have to suck. So I would tell people is positive, build on the positive, and don't sit there and dwell on the negative. I saw a lady yesterday, just yesterday. I saw this like beautiful young lady, and I walked up to her. I said, "Hey, you okay?" She said, "Yeah, having on my boyfriend with arguing." I go, "Then leave." I said, and this is exactly what I told her. She's probably my daughter's age, 21, 22 years old, getting her oil change. And I go, "Then leave." I go, "You're a beautiful young lady. There's some young guy there right now that would die to have you in his life, and you probably wouldn't be crying right now, and you'd be happy." I go, "Why are you putting yourself in an unhappy state? That makes no sense to me." I was like, it's simple. If you're not happy where you're at, go find happiness. Like, how easy is that? People get so comfortable and they're like, no, I'm just going to put it out. Because you only get one thing, this one. And what I would tell somebody is that you get one chance at life. One chance. There's no book on it. There is no right or wrong on it. You know what I mean? Like my sister told me all the time, you're a grown ass man and your cover looks like you're 12 years old. And I'm like, and? Eating healthy. I'm like, wow, I'm as healthy as an ox. But at the end of the day, though, like I tell my sister, like I would tell somebody is that look at the positive you got. If you got air in your lungs, you know what I mean, and you got health, then you got everything you need right there. Everything else, you just make it happen. Try to be a tough ass to do that. Just go find something that gives you purpose. Like go walk around a park or something.
Yeah.
Just walk. Enjoy what God put here for us. Enjoy nature. If you like it, continue to do it. If you don't like it, find something else to do. There's a ton of shit in this world to do. But the biggest thing is people are lazy. People don't want to get out and do stuff. And people always, I don't say always, but people when they're feeling down on themselves, want somebody to feel sorry for them. No, hell no. when I'm feeling down on myself, like when I lost my mom and dad, I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me. My family will text me 2 or 3 times. Hey, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm out cutting the grass. Because my way of coping with most stuff is work. I go out to my farm. Just like I get off the phone, I'm going to my farm. I'm putting up fence today. 100-degree heat. Give me water and let me work. It's fulfilling. And you can turn around and see, like, oh my God, I just put in all these posts. So you get instant gratification by doing something. And that's what I tell people. Find something that's going to give you instant gratification, but it gives you a sense of purpose. Do that, life's just going to get better for you. Put everything on your side that's bad. I don't give a damn what it is. I'm on men and women in their marriages or whatever the case may be. I'm like, then why the hell are you there? Oh, we've been married 18 years. And dude, you're going to live, I hope, another 20 years. Do you want to live 20 years happy? Or you want to live 20 years explaining everything, or 20 years sitting there in opposite rooms in the house? I'm like, that ain't living, bro. That in my mind is slavery. Hell no, dude. Forget this. I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm like, or you come together as adults, you talk about it, and you fix it. Because nobody gets married to get divorced. And so I would tell, well, going back to your question, I would just tell people, like, just live. And all my buddies, like, man, you're always happy. I was like, I'm not always happy. I'm pissed off all the time. I go, but the things that I can control, the things that I can affect, I affect them. If I can't control, I can affect it.
You know, you said taking action, very, very important. I feel like that gets people out of anxiety, that gets people out of being overwhelmed. Taking action towards something can solve a lot of, I guess, in a way, mental health is the best way that I could put it, is taking action to, do something to get out of wherever you're going, or distraction, or whatever it is. But it is a gratification in terms of being able to, the other day I rode my bike. I wanted to ride I didn't want to drive, and I just wanted to do something. I was sitting there a lot. I was like working from the computer. I'm like, I'm taking meetings 24/7 with my nonprofit, and I'm like, I'm gonna ride my bike to my next meeting. That's it. And like, a board member, he's like, 76, and he was like, oh, it's 100 and some degrees. You're gonna ride your bike? And I go, yeah. And he was like, let me drive you. I said, no, I'm riding my bike. And then he calls me, and he's like, how's it going? How's your bike ride? I said, beautiful. And he goes, please be safe out there. I said, I think I'm more safer on the bike, and I'm enjoying, and I'm getting exercise, and I'm enjoying myself. But it's interesting too when you want to go, and I don't even think it's a challenge. It's a bike ride. I mean, not riding across America. I'm riding my bike, like not even a mile up the road. And yet everyone's like, you should really drive 100 degrees outside. I go, this is how comfortable we have been in society. At 100 degrees. Yeah. And I go, I don't want to be comfortable in society where I'm going to use an excuse to not get me taking action towards something that I want to do, or is good for me, or healthy, or things like that. And you're right, though. We get too comfortable. We're very blessed. We're blessed because it's like that's what makes us lazy. It's like, oh, I'm so blessed that I can, go right to the bathroom. I don't have to go outside or do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so blessed that I could take a shower that's hot or cold, whatever I choose, right?
Do require effort. Now, if you think about it, nothing we do requires effort now. If I want to, well, not my house, but if you want to turn the TV up, hey, Alexa, whatever they say, Alexa, turn the TV up. Just get up mad as hell, pulling cushions out of the couch. Where's the remote? It took effort. So to take on one channel. Or you get up, hey, boy, go turn the TV, and you go up there and turn the little dog.
No, I could turn the TV on and off on my phone. If I was at my brother's house with this thing, I was like, whoa, what's this? It was like turning the channel. I was like, how's the channel? The TV, the remote's over there. And I didn't know he's turning it with his phone. I was like, whoa.
We got the fingers in the world. That's all we got going for us. Our fingers are like everything else. Just, I was going to say, when you were saying earlier about mental health, I'm no brain surgeon. I'm no mental health person, nor do I try to be. But what I will tell people, and this is my personal opinion, the brain is just like muscle. You've got to work it. So if you're in a slump for whatever reason, whether it's financially, emotionally, anything that you're in a slump in, if you don't work that brain to get out to like release some of those endorphins, what's going to happen is you're just going to sit there and dwell on the bad things until your brain's going to go right back to that. You know what I mean? It's going to go right back. Like me having a brain injury, having memory loss. I don't constantly work my brain. It's just going to continue to decline.
Yeah.
It's just like our health. If you don't continue to ride your bike and work out, your health's going to go down. It's It's not rocket science. People
Mhm.
look at all 80-year-old people and they're like, oh my God, he's still walking. He's 80 years old. Because he's been walking since he was able to walk. And his body's accepted, like, hey, this is what I can do. I'm going to do it. So I would challenge everybody out there that's watching this today, when it comes to mental health, exercise your brain, put it to work. Think about the times when you're the happiest in your life and go do those things. If the happiest time, just like me, sometimes I'm 9 hours from mom and dad's house, 562 miles from my front door to their front door. I'll be sitting in my house, and I've done this a 1,000 times. I'm like, you know, man, I'm going to fuck home. I'll go get in my truck and I'll drive home. You can ask my sister. I show up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I know exactly where the keys in. Walk in the house, climb my bed in my room that's still there. Go to sleep. Wake up next day, and I just walk down that dirt road. The happiest times of my life was a kid growing up on that dirt road. So why not go back now? I'll go back now. I just feel rejuvenated because my brain is where, just like I told, I get the best sleep at my mom and dad's house because I feel safe there. I feel comfortable there. And so I would tell people just go back to where if it was a kid, go back when you were a kid. If it was in college, go back when you were in college. Go back to when your time in your life was like you were riding that high. And if you can do that, it's like a re-kickstart to get you back to where you need to be.
Thank you so much. And thanks so much for being on the show. You're really fun to talk to. I really enjoyed it. And I'm just going to say to our listeners right now, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, become a Substack member. We got some extra goodies on the Substack that only our subscribers get. So join us. It's a party, and I will see you guys all next week. Thank you so much.